Because we are going to go live to Runcorn and Helsby, the count for that constituency, where the chairman of the Reform UK Party, Zia Yusuf, can join us. Zia, welcome to the programme.
Hello, good to be here.
Zia Yusuf, it's Chris Hope in the studio here with Tom Harwood. How confident are you of winning Runcorn and Helsby?
Well, as you can see, they are counting votes as we speak, Chris. What I can say is that we have fought an incredible campaign. Sarah Poachin, the Reform candidate here, has been phenomenal. We're incredibly excited about the prospect of her becoming a Reform MP. We've had hundreds of activists here today, and I don't think we could have possibly run a better campaign. As was just said there in the studio, this is one of the safest Labour seats in the country, a by-election being run just 9 or 10 months after the general election when they won a huge majority. And we're a start-up party that had 0 MPs around 10.5, 11 months ago. So the fact that we are seriously in the running of winning this seat is an astonishing feat and testament to how much support Reform has built in the last 10, 11 months.
But we've been here before with Nigel Farage's party in previous by-elections, getting so close but not quite over the line. Why might this be different?
I think there's a few reasons. Number one is the mood of the country. I mean, I've spent a lot of time in Runcorn here campaigning, and the word betrayal and betrayed comes up a lot on the doorstep, actually, more from lifelong Labour voters and people who voted Labour last year than even from Tories now. I think Keir Starmer is going to go through a period much like what the Tory party suffered, where his own supporters, his own base, feel that he has totally betrayed them, that he doesn't really stand for anything. And of course, the Tories, after 14 years of catastrophe, people aren't going back to them anytime soon. So I think this is going to be, and many have said, that this is going to be a historic set of local elections in this country, probably the most important that have ever run, because the stranglehold that the two old parties have had on British politics is going to be decisively broken.
Voting's finished now. You can be honest about what your forecasts are. How many of these mayoralties might you win, and what's your forecast for council seats?
I think we're going to win hundreds of council seats. I think we stand a very good chance of taking control of some councils. The first time, obviously, that would have happened for Reform, and I think we might win one, maybe even two of these mayoral contests, partly again because of our incredible candidates. Dame Andrea Jenkins has been absolutely unbelievable since joining Reform and has fought a brilliant campaign. And obviously Luke up in Hull, he's an MBE, he won a gold medal for his country. He's adored up there. Spent time with him a couple of days ago. He was getting an incredible reception. So look, we've got to see how the dust settles in a few hours. As you know, Chris, the first past the post system, it rewards you for nothing other than coming top. But I think we're going to win hundreds of seats. I think we're going to we stand a really good chance of winning this seat here in Runcorn and Helsby, and perhaps taking one or two of the mayoralties as well. But again, let me be really clear. Last summer, the general election, Reform won 14% of the vote share, 14.1 to be precise. In this set of elections, Chris, I think we're going to be well into the 20s. And in terms of our target of getting Nigel into number 10 Downing Street, flanked by 350 to 400 Reform MPs, we only need, I say only, it's not going to be easy, but we need another 6 to 7 percentage points from here. We've got 4 years to do it, and that's what we intend to do, to keep banging the drum of our patriotic, optimistic message for Britain.
If what you're saying happens, it will trigger a crisis for the Conservative Party tomorrow and over the weekend, and there'll be more talk about how Reform UK and the Tories must come together. Are you saying you can do this without them?
Absolutely. There'll be 350 to 400 Reform MPs. And look, pretty much every day, Chris, you've reported and you've put on social media, it's usually at least one senior, pretty high-profile member of the Conservative Party, in many cases actually MPs now, calling for a pact with Reform, a merger with Reform. It's never a Reform person who is making that argument. And the reason for that is we have all of the upward momentum. The Tories are in terminal decline, and frankly, as they should be. Are there some good people in the Conservative Party? Sure. But ultimately, they spent 14 years absolutely destroying this country. They took taxes to a record high in terms of the tax burden since World War II. They threw open our borders, brought 6.5 million net new people here through legal migration, hundreds of thousands through illegal migration. They betrayed every principle and value they were elected to uphold. And let's not forget, Nigel, our leader, has some memories, of course, and some experience of doing a deal and doing a pact with the Tories, as he did with Boris Johnson. And what happened? He was almost instantly betrayed. The promise of Brexit was betrayed. So there won't be a pact with the Tories.
I'm just going to ask you quickly, where is Nigel Farage? Is he in the pub somewhere?
He is, he's having some dinner. He has been, I've never worked with somebody who has as much energy as him in any age category, let alone a man in his 60s. And yet he has covered so much ground today campaigning, getting the vote out. He had an incredible reception on the doorstep, campaigning with Sarah to get our vote out today. He will be at the count in a few hours.
Thank you, Zia Yusuf. Thank you.
Really interesting stuff that we've learned there. We'll get a sight of Nigel Farage at the Runcorn and Helsby count. Now, of course, Catherine, Keir Starmer hasn't been to Runcorn and Helsby throughout the course of this by-election. It's fairly unusual for a by-election early in a term for a Prime Minister not to visit.
I think he's been getting on with running the country, and we have been seeing NHS waiting lists coming down month on month. We're rolling out breakfast clubs, and we're actually seeing a return to neighbourhood policing. So I think he's been a bit busy, and it's not like at them. And I think that especially with the fantastic work that he's been doing on the global stage, when things are so uncertain, I could understand why he might have had one or two other things to do.
Too busy to visit the first parliamentary by-election in this parliament.
I think there are elections that are happening across the country, and I think the only thing that's somewhat surprising is that actually there is nothing new with Nigel Farage winning votes. He's done it with lots of different parties. And in 2014, he got loads of votes, more votes than anyone else, and more seats in the Euros. In 2019, again, 5 million votes. But what did he do with that? What can he actually say that he's achieved for anyone? What positive outcome can people see?
It's quite a big achievement.
And he's been disowning it ever since.
No, we left because of Nigel winning so many votes in 2014 and David Cameron promising a referendum. We'd never have had it without Nigel. He's achieved a great deal, but I think...
And he has been disowning Brexit ever since and saying it's not right.
Your efforts on the line to take are absolutely noble. I really admire you for that. But I've never known a Prime Minister to be too busy to campaign when his party's doing well. When his party's doing well, it fits into the diary. When things are bad, Prime Ministers run away from by-elections. John Major never went anywhere near by-elections because we lost them all. Boris went out to them because he was good at winning them.
Jacob Rees-Mogg, on that point, Kemi Badenoch has not visited Runcorn and Helsby either.
We're not runners in it.
You have a candidate.
Of course we do, but we're not going to win.
You came a close. You came a
We came a close third.
You came 100 or so votes of being second in the general election.
A close third is complete irrelevance. And in by-elections, there are always two parties that have momentum. One is the party that is incumbent, and one is the challenger.
Tell that to the Liberal Democrats. The Liberal Democrats, by-election after by-election, have jumped from third
because they have been the challenger to an unpopular government. In by-elections, there is only ever, we're first past the post system, there's only ever a point in one party really working for it. We've done nothing in Runcorn, quite rightly, because we were never going to win it. And it's much, much better that Nigel should win it than that the Socialists should win it. It's much better to have somebody who leans to the right in Parliament than another Socialist.
And yet this is interesting, because I've been speaking to some Labour sources today who say that one of the big strategies for the Labour Party in Runcorn and Helsby has to target Tory areas, traditionally Tory areas, affluent areas. And they believe that a stop reform strategy in these areas, one of which is Frodsham, which is, ironically, the area in which Mike Amesbury punched his constituent that kicked off this whole sordid affair. And interestingly, Jamie, Labour seems to be targeting the Tory areas to stop reform. Meanwhile, Reform's been knocking up all the council estate areas.
But meanwhile, what I find fascinating about both those contributions is, first of all, the Prime Minister's busy getting on with the job, but he managed to have a holiday. wasn't able to go and support a Labour Party candidate in the 16th safest Labour seat. I'm sorry, I just don't buy it. And with regards to the Conservative Party, what I find fascinating is we've got a Labour government that is doing a horrendous job. The leader of the opposition, who's meant to oppose this government constitutionally, has left it to a political party with 5 members of parliament, but all the momentum in British politics. And there seems no appetite at all from the Conservative Party to even try and see if they can increase their vote share, see how Kemi's going down on the doorstep. There's been no appetite. I agree with the point that, of course, it looks like it's reforms, opportunity to take it more than the Conservative Party. But this is democracy. And we've seen no effort at all from the Conservative Party, which I think is a damning indictment on both the leaders of both the Conservative Party and the Labour Party. Neither of them have stood by their candidate and had a photo in a by-election, the first parliamentary by-election. That, I'm sorry, that is embarrassing for both the two major political parties.
We're going to come back to this.
So just a moment
quickly,
on that, is that if we campaigned hard in a first-past-the-post system, we'd have helped Labour. Why should we want to help the government?